The theme of our presentation is multicultural life. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am George. I am the curator of Arts from the East in the British Museum. And today I invite two friends of mine to enjoy the exhibition.
Konnichiwa. I'm Yuki from Japan. I'm an art enthusiast. Come on.
大家好 I'm Chen, a scholar of Chinese cultural relics.
Well, ladies, our journey begins with the centerpiece of the exhibit, the admonition scroll.
Oh, 女史箴图 my favorite masterpiece. That's a milestone in the painting history.
What's the story behind it?
Well, let me show you the display board first. It is created by Gu Kaizhi, the legendary painter. It successfully combines education and aesthetics, narrating the tales of ancient women.
Oh, I see. It says it's a highly valued relic from Jin dynasty.
Yes, about 1700 years old.
Such a long history.
Absolutely. That's really incredible.
Yes. And this. It reminds me of Japanese folding screens.
Well, it used to be a 3-meter long hand scroll, but in 1914, for restoration, it was cut into 4 pieces and framed in traditional Japanese style screens.
Well, as far as I know, Japan absorbed the world's most advanced restoration techniques, and they were known to the Western world. Perhaps that's why the British Museum adopted our methods.
Right.
Well, the British Museum adopted Japanese methods to restore Chinese cultural relics, but I feel like it's kind of mismatch. Back then, the Western world was likely to mix the cultures of various Asian countries.
Well, we used to think that Chinese paintings were similar to Japanese ones, so we used the same materials and fixed it in the same way.
Oh, no. There are some differences.
Oh, you're right.
Yes. And, it says the British Museum also adopted its own method after the cutting.
Yes.
But I heard the restoration was not that perfect.
Well, the result didn't go as planned. Our museum actually applied a layer of chemical paste, typical Western way, to preserve the painting.
It didn't work?
No, unfortunately, it only made the painting more fragile. After a century, the signs of cracking and choking became evident, and that's when we realized we needed to turn to Chinese experts for a second restoration.
After all, artworks may receive the best protection from where they come from.
Yes, and our museum's mistake was the inappropriate transplant without considering Chinese culture.
Oh, transplant? Do you mean using the Japanese and Western method in the restoration?
Yes.
Before restoring the ancient paintings, we have to research into their cultural origin. But in 1914, the British Museum didn't do that.
We underestimated the significance of cultural background. Well, ladies, I guess that's enough for introduction. Why not view the painting in person?
Okay.
Sure.
This way, please. And here it is.
Wow.
Oh, this painting actually looks in good condition now.
It's in great shape now, all thanks to Qiu Jingxian.
I know her, the Chinese expert.
Yes, her team used traditional Chinese techniques and materials to fix the painting in 2014.
And the scroll is complete, not separated.
Chinese experts managed to reassemble the pieces.
You know what? If the Chinese expert had been here in 1914, the scroll would not have been cut into pieces.
Well, technically, we cut the painting just to avoid the damage made by repeatedly rolling it.
But it caused another form of damage. Yes, for Chinese paintings, especially the ancient one, the inscriptions and seals on them are as valuable as the paintings. Look, the seals here are missing, and the inscriptions there are missing too.
Inscriptions. Oh, I know. Japanese ancient paintings also have inscriptions.
Oh, really?
Yes, I know. They can convey the artist's expressions, and they're just like the notes that help us better understand and appreciate the artwork.
You seem quite knowledgeable about inscriptions.
Thank you. But I don't know much about the seals.
Well, neither am I. Western paintings usually have signatures on them.
Well, generally, there are four kinds of seals on ancient Chinese paintings: those of the painters, the inscription writers, the critics, and esteemed collectors, including emperors.
Wow, even emperors?
Yes, I remember Emperor Qianlong.
Yeah.
Yes, he placed some seals on it.
37 to be exact.
37? That's incredible.
Yes, the seals can greatly enhance the historical value of this painting.
Oh, yes. The cutting did weaken the significance of it.
Cutting was meant to protect it, but now, what a shame.
Now I see. Inscriptions and seals are indispensable parts of this painting.
Yes, they do make the painting so unique. How I wish nothing were missing.
I do understand your feelings, and I promise cultural uniqueness will always be prioritized in the future restoration of thousands of relics here.
Only in this way can we protect the cultural relics well and make them the shared heritage of the entire world.
I couldn't agree more.
You know what, ladies? There's actually another lecture on cultural relics restoration. Would you like to attend?
Of course!
Let's go.
Here comes the analysis of our case. We will analyze our case from two perspectives: generalization and frame of reference.
The first perspective is generalization. Generalizations are based on limited data and are then applied to a larger population. Western countries back in a century ago used to mix the cultures of East Asian countries, such as China and Japan. This reflects the tendency to oversimplify the intricate cultural nuances of these countries. In 1914, the British restorers failed to realize that respecting the uniqueness of a culture is the prerequisite to protect it. Neither did they conduct sufficient research into the unique characteristics of Chinese cultural relics. This finally resulted in the loss of many inscriptions and seals, thus reducing the artistic and historical value of this artifact.
And another key point is frame of reference. Frame of reference in one culture refers to the correct way of thinking or behaving within that culture. An holistic view is a typical Chinese frame of reference, where all elements are interconnected and contribute to the overall meaning. Restorers in British Museum failed to recognize the holistic frame of reference and separated the inscriptions and seals of the painting, resulting in the loss of valuable components of the admonition scroll. It is crucial to respect the frame of reference of each culture that underlies the cultural uniqueness.
This case gives us a lot of inspiration in the protection of cultural relics and also in intercultural communication. It's necessary for us to fully consider and respect the uniqueness of each culture, appreciate other cultures' frame of reference, and put ourselves in their shoes. Only in this way can we enhance the historical value of those paintings and protect those cultural relics and then reach the great prosperity of world culture. That is all for our show. Thank you.
Okay, art restoration and the spread of the influence of art involves respecting its cultural tradition and customs, even the techniques to protect it and restore it. So my question is, how do we balance the spreading of the influence of a cultural product, for example, spreading its beauty to another country or to other cultures, and the maintenance of that cultural product?
Well, thank you for your question. I think this is a really good one. And I would like to conclude your question as that during the process of globalization of the artworks and what we should pay attention to during the process of localization. And I think this is really a good question because in our case, the main problem occurs in the generalizations and frame of reference that back in 100 years ago, Western world used to consider itself as center of the world so that they committed the fault of, ethnocentrism. They consider themselves as superior to others so that they neglect the uniqueness of Chinese culture, including the arts, and which results in the loss of valuable components of the nation scroll. And let's talk about how to balance it. First of all, I would like to refer to another concept which is called ethno-relativism. I think this is a really good one to answer this question. Is that we can only judge one culture or just to understand it under its own context, so that we have to learn the background and uniqueness of each culture in advance during the globalization or popularization of such a artworks or production in another cultures. And the second step we should do is we really should popularize those kind of arts knowledge or cultural knowledge among all the around the whole world, because the globalization actually help us to better understand the diversity of each culture. Well, I think that'll be all my answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Now it's time for quote interpretation. Please see the quote on the board. Intercultural education promotes dialogue, fosters cultural awareness, and cultivates global citizens who can thrive in diverse societies. You may have 20 seconds for preparation.
Ladies and gentlemen, actually, there are a lot of keywords in this quote. For example, education, intercultural communication, and diverse. But I think all of these keywords are closely related to one word, intercultural communication. And that is exactly why we are here today. Because we are learning intercultural communication and we are talking about intercultural communication. This quote highly emphasizes on the significance of intercultural education. So education, as we know, is a systematical way or socialized way for us to learn about the culture, the values, the beliefs. In this world, there are a lot of different cultures, and every day we are meeting with some people who have the different values, beliefs, and perceptions with us. So differences exist between cultures and also exist between the process of intercultural communication. If we don't receive education, if we don't learn about the dialogue, the awareness, and also the global citizen awareness, then we'll not be able to thrive and we'll not be able to live smoothly in this globally world. So that is why intercultural education is so important. This world is really diverse, and every culture is fantastic because every culture has its own characteristics that make it unique and also make it important in this world. Every culture cannot live on this world, and every culture cannot live as a lonely island. Every day, we're meeting, we're talking. Sometimes we need to convey what we want to say to us. And sometimes we need to try to really hard to understand what other people want to tell us. And all this process is the result of education. Because difference always exists, we cannot just ignore them. What we should do is to respect and to deal with all the differences effectively and smoothly. Ladies and gentlemen, Helen Keller has a very famous quote. The highest result of education is tolerance. That is because when you meet differences, sometimes we'll also meet with difficulties or conflicts or even wars which will do harm to our human beings. But only through education, only through this intercultural education, can we learn about the effective methods and also to establish the awareness to live in this global world and live in this intercultural world. So ladies and gentlemen, intercultural education is really important because it can help us to gain the knowledge about culture, about difference, and about how to respect others and to cooperate in this world so that we can reach the common prosperity of world culture and be a good person to be effective in intercultural communication. Thank you.